New developments overnight in the proposed wheel tax that could soften the blow to lower-income families in Madison. We'll tell you how.
And a controversial decision has been reversed, sending an employee back to school. We'll tell you what Marlon Anderson has to say about getting his job back.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on a Tuesday morning. It is October 22nd. I'm Josh Breiter.
And I'm Susan Simon, filling in this week for Leah Linscheid. This is going to be one of those mornings where you're going to have to blow dynamite to get the kids up, to get them ready for school, because it's really raw outside. It was windy yesterday.
Yeah, but it was a warm wind.
It's cold this morning, yeah, and rainy, too.
Yeah, a little bit of rain. Yeah, not a nice morning to be outside. I'll be honest with you for that. We have an alert day in the forecast. It's a wind advisory through 7 p.m. today for all of southern Wisconsin. West winds gusting up to 45 miles an hour. There you can see the counties included. We are all in the same boat this morning with these strong southwesterly winds. Doppler isn't showing a whole lot of rain right now, but what it's not showing is some drizzle that is occurring in many locations. So it's still pretty damp across southern Wisconsin. Our temperatures aren't going to move much today. We're going to hold nearly steady in the mid to upper 40s. Winds from the southwest this morning will be shifting to the west pretty quickly and staying strong throughout the day right into the evening. That will impact high-profile vehicles, especially on north-south roads, so be aware of that. On the travel map this morning, your first alert traffic showing you some delays on East Washington as you head out of the downtown areas and towards the interstate. Otherwise, no other accidents to report. And that's your first alert traffic.
All right, Hattie, thank you. We are tracking breaking news overnight. Justin Trudeau will serve a second term as Canada's Prime Minister.
He faced re-election yesterday, and going into the day, the polls were tight. Trudeau and Conservative leader Andrew Scheer were the top two contenders in yesterday's general election. CBC News reports the Liberal Party will return to power, but as a minority government, which would be a partnership with one or more other parties. Just last week, former President Barack Obama endorsed Trudeau a month after Trudeau apologized for wearing blackface during a school event nearly 20 years ago.
Also breaking into the Channel 3000 Alert Center overnight, more oversight may be coming to the Madison Police Department, but the department won't be adding officers. The city's finance committee voted last night to approve funding for a new position, an independent police monitor. The position was the main recommendation of a committee that's been meeting and analyzing police policy for the last 4 years. However, the committee decided against adding 3 additional officers. Members of that committee say the oversight is an important addition.
Explicitly about making sure that these recommendations that we are putting forward are not just implemented correctly, but are seen through, and that MPD can constantly improve its policies and procedures, can constantly improve how to interact with community, and can create an easier entry for community members when it comes to engaging with MPD and any issues that it's facing.
Some relief could also be coming to low-income residents if a $40 wheel tax is approved by the full council. The Finance Committee passed an amendment to the proposal giving a $40 reimbursement to people who use food stamps. The city says the new vehicle registration tax is necessary to avoid further budget cuts, but opponents expressed concerns about it disproportionately affecting low-income residents. The committee hopes a reimbursement would help offset that burden. The full council needs to pass the wheel tax by the end of the month in order for it to go into effect in February.
More local news now at 6:04. The West High School security guard recently fired for using a racial slur will have his job back.
Marlon Anderson says he used the N-word, asking a student to stop calling him that. Since then, support has been pouring in from students, community members, even Cher. The Madison School Board president recommended the district rescind Anderson's termination, and they did just that yesterday. Now Anderson looks forward to getting back to work.
I'm blessed enough to know the impact that I've made in the lives of a bunch of young people, hundreds, probably thousands of young people throughout the years. And I just want to continue doing that. I want to continue to bless them as they bless me.
Anderson will be back on the payroll immediately with full benefits, and he will stay on paid leave while a transition plan is put together. He would like the district to re-examine its zero tolerance practice regarding staff members using a racial slur. And Madison Board President Gloria Reyes says that is something they're considering.
Oftentimes when we implement universal practices across the board and we take action on that, we ultimately impact the people that we're trying to protect.
Anderson is in touch with Cher and her team, who you may recall tweeted support for Anderson earlier this week about ways that she could still help out following this decision as well.
Governor Tony Evers is calling a special session of the state legislature to tackle the issue of gun violence. The governor is proposing two bills. One would require universal background checks on gun purchases, and the other would create a red flag process that would give law enforcement the ability to take away someone's gun if they're a threat to themselves or others. However, the bills face an uphill battle as both the Assembly and the Senate are controlled by Republicans. That special session will start November 7th. We're still awaiting a decision from the state Supreme Court after the justices heard arguments in a lawsuit challenging lame duck laws yesterday. A coalition of unions has filed a lawsuit against the laws violating the separation of powers between the executive and legislative branches. The Republican-controlled legislature's attorney says lawmakers want a seat at the table, also arguing the Attorney General is more of an administrative role, not in the executive branch. Attorney General Josh Kaul and Governor Evers' attorneys say that's not true. The court can issue a decision at any time. We'll bring you updates in our newscasts and on our website, channel3000.com. American diplomat Bill Taylor, who came out of retirement to run the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine, is set to testify on Capitol Hill today.
Taylor is the latest to testify as the ongoing impeachment inquiry into President Trump continues. Of the alleged quid pro quo, Taylor texted it was, quote, crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign. President Trump is remaining defiant in the face of the inquiry, saying he's done nothing wrong. A new poll from the New York Times and Siena College looked at the 6 states that could decide the 2020 election, including Wisconsin, and found a majority of registered voters in those states support the impeachment inquiry by 5 points, 50% to 45%.
Turkey's president is meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin this morning as the Russians emerge as the top player in the area now that President Trump ordered U.S. troops out of the region. Local television shows the Syrian army preparing to move to the northern part of the country that was once protected by U.S. forces. A U.S. brokered ceasefire between Kurdish forces and Turkey ends later today. Turkey regards the Kurds as a terrorist group and wants them to leave a 20-mile safe zone along the border. Turkey says it will resume its offensive if the Kurds don't move out of the area. More than 175,000 civilians, including 70,000 children, have been displaced by the fighting.
We're only 265 days away now from the Democratic National Convention's first day in Milwaukee, and organizers are starting to fill leadership roles and volunteer positions. We now know that Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett and Congresswoman Gwen Moore will co-chair the host committee. Both were instrumental in bringing the convention to Milwaukee. Barrett says the DNC is committed to the city.
There's a lot of momentum starting to gain, and I think what's happened is Liz Gilbert has put together a really first-rate team, and there's a lot of energy here. What I'm particularly impressed by is how much they want to be part of this community.
The host committee put out 2 requests for proposals, one for software to manage the thousands of expected volunteers, and another for companies to provide digital services.
So the DNC might not be the only big event heading to Milwaukee next year. Mayor Tom Barrett is campaigning for his city to be picked to host the G7 summit as well. After facing bipartisan backlash, President Trump decided not to host the event at his Doral, Florida resort. Barrett submitted a letter to the president Sunday night. The G7 summit will happen on June 12th, only a month before the DNC convention.
Well, we're nearing the end of October. It's October 22nd already.
That's crazy.
It's flying by. So just this week, we're going to call it Socktober.
We love this celebration. Kiddos at Verona schools have spent the last month collecting socks to give to those in need. Keely Arthur joins us live inside Glacier Ridge Elementary School this morning, where distribution begins. Hi, Keely.
Hi, Josh and Susan. That is right. Socks are the least likely to be donated statistically in terms of the items we often think of: boots, other clothing, shoes. But the students here know that it is such an important item, and they have really taken it to heart. They've donated tons of socks so far, 2,000, all going to the Badger Prairie Needs Network today. Now, the teacher here says they were inspired by the National Socktober movement, and they started collecting a few years ago. First collecting a few hundred, and then 2,000 this year. They have a goal of 2,800 though. But aside from reaching that number, the teacher says this is all about teachable moments for her students.
When they do their posters and they do their writing, they'll often include a picture at this age, and a lot of pictures include somebody with no socks on, and then how they get socks and they're happy. And they think about how, people don't have all of the things we take for granted.
Schools in New Glarus and a local daycare are also participating. They've separately raised 1,300 pairs. Now, the students here at Glacier Edge want to reach their goal. They're just shy about 800 pairs. If you want to help them reach that 2,800 number, you can donate a pair of socks on their behalf to the Badger Prairie Needs Network. We have a link to that on our website. Back to you two.
That's a great campaign. I like the little sock garland.
It's just kind of bouncing there
in the classroom. Keely, thank you so much. And you could make a contribution to the donation.
If there's anybody that knows the importance of some socks, I brought my whole sock bin in this morning so we could even look at all those.
If you're a regular watcher of this show, your socks are a conversation piece every single day.
Every day. Look, you got the Christmas socks there. I got a lot of Halloween socks. But this morning, I don't know if we can do this without me falling back. We got the donut
I'm
socks
impressed.
on. Look at that.
Those are great. That's so fun.
Hey, socks are fun, right?
See, Hattie and I don't get a chance to do that.
You can't really show them off.
These with a dress might be, that might get some people talking. Well, thank you for
Well, yeah, look at that.
That would be a great donation.
I do have a lot of socks, and they're important.
Yeah.
You got to have them. All right, coming up right now on News 3 Now this morning, we're getting a look at a future of higher education as online class takes on a whole new meaning for some local college students. We'll tell you how they're using virtual reality at Madison College.
You didn't pull a hamstring there
No,
or anything,
I didn't.
did you? Okay, good. Well, maybe we can use some virtual reality to make it look sunny today. Hattie has a forecast that'll make it hard to get out of bed this morning. It's windy and very chilly.
Lots of socks today.
That's right, heavy socks. It's 6:12 right now. Your first alert weather is next.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio, where it's a little bit wet this morning and very windy. Those winds are from the west, southwest, and they're much colder than they were yesterday. We have a wind advisory in effect for our entire viewing area until 7 p.m. this evening. All counties shaded in brown there. Winds gusting in the 40 to 45 mile an hour range. That's definitely a possibility through the day today. In fact, take a look at your Futuretrack wind speed map. This is sustained winds in the 20 to 30 mile an hour range right through the afternoon. Those winds will finally diminish after the sun sets tonight and this storm system pulls a little bit further away from the area. But until then, it's going to be very windy and much colder today. Doppler track is showing you that there have been a few light showers from time to time. Also, some drizzle is currently occurring here in Madison and elsewhere across southern Wisconsin. So you might want to grab that umbrella, or you may have to use the windshield wipers on your way into work or school this morning. A wider view of what's happening, you can sort of see the counterclockwise circulation. This storm system, the actual area of low pressure is right to our north this morning. Those strong winds wrapping around this system, keeping clouds in place, as well as a few of those showers. It is going to be a much cooler day today. Off to the west, temperatures are in the 30s this morning. We're in the 40s here for southern Wisconsin. In Madison, it's 45 degrees, 48 in Janesville, down to 40 though in the Dells. Temperatures aren't going to move much today. We're looking at nearly steady temperatures with clouds and that strong west wind. On and off showers are possible as well at times, heading right into the afternoon. Now, with the storm system eventually lifting off to the north, we're going to see skies clear overnight tonight. Those rain showers will lift to the north as well, and temperatures will drop a little bit lower. We're down in the 30s tomorrow morning, so it will be a much cooler start to the day tomorrow. Luckily, though, winds will be lighter on Wednesday. Temperatures will climb back into the 50s on Wednesday with a slight chance for a shower in the afternoon. Drying out for the end of the week, but turning much cooler. Thursday and Friday look downright chilly. Temperatures topping only in the mid-40s, nighttime lows dropping into the 20s Friday morning. We're back into the 50s this weekend, but then it will turn colder as we head into next week. Now it's time to get a look at your First Alert traffic maps this morning. We'll send it over to Jason Stone for all the details. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. Vehicles are at the posted speed limit on all lanes of the Beltline, with only minor congestion at the Stoughton and Verona interchanges. Verona Road is reasonable as of right now. All other routes into Madison and around Dane County are clear, and drivers are tapping the brakes on East Wash in both directions. Otherwise, no issues on the Isthmus or campus at this time. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Jason and Hattie, thank you both very much. With the first early decision college application deadline looming on November 1st, WalletHub is out with its list of best colleges and universities in Wisconsin. The Milwaukee School of Engineering came in on top in their study, with the University of Wisconsin-Madison coming in right below them at number 2. And then Edgewood College snuck into the top 10 list at number 9 as well. As we take a look at the bottom 5 there on your screen. There we go right there. Yeah, Edgewood coming in at 9. Of course, lots of other colleges across the state as well.
Madison college students are exploring a new type of learning in the first of its kind virtual reality classroom. For this semester's Digital Innovations course, students are plugging into what their teacher, Steve Knowles, says may be the future of classrooms. With a headset and 2 hand controllers, students meet in a virtual room where they can do this from anywhere in the world as long as you have Wi-Fi. So for students who are sick or physically unable to make it to class, Knowles says it's a way for them to still participate.
The idea that kind of taking something that they're already comfortable with and then turn it into an educational tool, that's kind of what a technical college should be doing.
Knowles says it lets students put themselves in any sort of interactive experience, like experiencing a historical time period or even performing surgery. Students are actively giving feedback on their experience. That's a great experiment, isn't it?
Technology, it's getting crazier.
If you could just make it look a little cooler.
Yeah, there you go.
In those headsets. Well, it's 20 after 6, just ahead on News 3 Now this morning. We've seen some pretty cold Halloweens around here in recent years. Chris Reese will let us know what to expect this year for your little superheroes and princesses.
And speaking of bundling up, you're definitely going to want a jacket and probably an umbrella too as you head out the door this morning. Hattie's got the latest bus stop forecast for you when News 3 Now this morning returns.
Cobra.
.623 on a Tuesday morning, and I was trying to find Hattie some extra hairspray today, but I think everyone's using it all.
There's just not enough for today. Just pull it back.
Pull it back.
Yeah, it is very windy outside. I don't know if you can see the Edgewater camera shaking too much, but you can definitely see the WISC-Skycam moving in the wind this morning. It is a cold wind as well. Keep that in mind. Wind advisory in effect for our entire area this morning. So as you get the kids ready to head out the door, keep this in mind. It's a southwesterly wind this morning, around 15 miles an hour here in Madison, but gusting to around 30 miles an hour. Those winds will shift to the west and stay strong right through the afternoon. We could see some wind gusts late this morning into the afternoon hours, right around 40 to 45 miles an hour. So a very windy day. In addition to the winds, there are a few showers still showing up scattered across southern Wisconsin. Again, some light drizzle occurring here in Madison, which is not being picked up the radar right now. Temperatures are cold this morning. Here's a look at what it actually feels like outside. This is the wind chill map. It feels like 31 in the Dells, 35 in Mineral Point in Platteville. It feels like 38 here in Madison. So bundle those kiddos up as they head to the bus stop. A few showers with nearly steady temperatures. The mercury isn't going to move too far today. We're going to stay in the mid-40s right through the afternoon. Have a wonderful day.
All right, Hattie, thank you very much. And that was your first alert forecast. We're having some prompter issues here.
When Josh starts reading slower, it's because Susan is not ready.
You're ready now, though.
No, okay, let's go.
All right.
Okay, if you don't have your kids, thank you, by the way, you saved me. If you don't have your kids' Halloween costumes picked out yet, Chris Reese is here. You know, you got to be ready for anything.
You do.
You really do.
Live TV.
You can't have a costume where a coat's going to ruin the whole deal, right, Chris?
That's right. That's right. Because Halloween
is really just a wild card around here. I think that's what I like the most about October is that sometimes you just never know what you're going to get. But there are averages, and by the time we get you towards Halloween, the average high is 53, the average low is 35. So not too bad in terms of averages. But let's show you just some of the records that we've seen. We've had, especially back in the 60s when these records were set, we've had some wet Halloweens. Rainfall-wise, we saw over an inch of rain back in 1960. Snowfall-wise, we had 3 inches of snow in 1962. Temperature-wise, some Halloweens have been close to 80 degrees, with the record high being 78. Some Halloweens have been into the teens. Now let's look back through the past 5 years. And oddly enough, the past 5 years have been rather calm, other than the rainiest one. That was 2015. You got under 0.4 of an inch of rain. 2014, you got a little over 100, well, you got 100th of an inch of rain. And then you had a little bit of snow in 2014 as well. But the past 3 years have been dry and yo-yo in terms of the temperature. 60s in 2016, 30s in 2017. We were close to 60 last year for those highs. So what are we expecting as we head into this year? Well, as always, as a meteorologist, you have to pay attention to the upper air pattern. That drives what happens here on the ground, folks, and well, things are looking chillier for us. Let's get into Halloween week. This is Monday. We'll start to see the advancement of a cold air mass. It's going to work its way down into the northern part of the country, well, and into the southern part of the country as well. This is the day before Halloween. Check out all the cold that you see over Canada, and let's move on into the big day. And where is it? Oh, the upper Midwest. So I can tell you that just from looking at how the pattern may change as we go through the next couple of days, things do look like they could be fairly chilly for Halloween. In fact, over the next 6 to 10 days, especially the Mountain West, looking at a pretty bold probability of below normal temperatures. This goes through Halloween, but then we take that and expand it through the first week of November, and the upper Midwest is where we could be seeing some of the coldest temperatures across the country. So what to wear for Halloween? Something that really does incorporate a jacket this year. That's certainly what I think. I don't know if you'll need an umbrella or a snow shovel, but you will need a jacket probably. I can't say that one, at least from this far out.
This is the time of the year when we have warm days. It's sort of a gift.
Yes,
you know, it's like
yes.
Reality is settling in here.
It really is, and by the end of November, I mean, truly, the average temperatures, they were steady, and once you get here, they just drop.
Yeah, that's the time of the year.
That's where it is. And the cold and the clouds, they went out, and we make use of all the sunshine we can.
Look at the smile when he's talking about snow. He can't wait. He cannot wait. All right.
I can't.
All right, Chris, thank you.
My pleasure.
Still ahead this morning, we have the top 3 things you need to know on this Tuesday before you head out the door.
And some local kids are trying to keep everyone's feet warm this winter. We'll show you how you can participate in Socktober on News 3 Now this morning. Stay with us.
At From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for sticking around with us on this Tuesday, October 22nd. I'm Josh Sprider.
And I'm Susan Simon, filling in this week for Leah Linscheid. We'll get an update on Hattie's windy forecast in just a second. But here are the top 3 things you need to know on this Tuesday morning. Justin Trudeau will serve a second term as Canada's Prime Minister. CBC News reports the Liberal Party will return to power, but as a minority government. Just last week, former President Barack Obama endorsed Trudeau just a month after Trudeau apologized for wearing blackface during a school event nearly 20 years ago and admitting that he didn't know how many times he had done so in his life.
Iraq's military says U.S. troops leaving Syria and heading to Iraq do not have permission to stay in the country. President Trump ordered the troops to leave northern Syria, and shortly later, the fighting between Syria and Turkey started. A ceasefire in northern Syria is set to expire later today. The Pentagon says a small number of soldiers will stay in Syria in order to protect the area's oil fields.
American diplomat Bill Taylor, who came out of retirement to run the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine, will testify on Capitol Hill this morning as the ongoing impeachment inquiry into President Trump continues. Of the alleged quid pro quo, Taylor texted it was, quote, crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign.
Those are your top 3 things you need to know this morning, and Hattie's here now with your windy out the door weather and traffic update. Hi, Hads.
Good morning, Josh and Susan. Yeah, windy may be the understatement of the day. It's an alert day for southern Wisconsin with that wind advisory in effect for all areas until 7 p.m. Winds may gust as high as 40 to 45 miles an hour at times. We're also dealing with clouds and some wraparound showers here in Madison and southern Wisconsin. Some drizzle may also be occurring that's not quite showing up on the radar map this morning. Wind speeds are going to stay strong through the morning right into the afternoon. Right now they're around 15 to 25 miles an hour, gusting higher at times. Temperatures are not going to move too far today. We'll hold nearly steady with that west wind, again around 20 miles an hour, gusting higher. Your first alert traffic maps this morning will show you what to expect on the roadways. Not a whole lot happening on the Beltline, just the usual crowd showing up around Stoughton Road and Park Street, so some brake lights there. Keep in mind, those north-south roads are going to be most impacted by the gusty winds today. 2 hands on the wheel. And that's your first alert traffic.
All right, Hattie, thank you. We're nearing the end of October already, and for today, we're going to call it Socktober.
It's always Socktober for me, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Kids at Verona schools have spent the last month collecting socks to make sure everyone stays warm this winter, and that's where we find Keely Arthur live at Glacier Ridge Elementary, where distribution begins today. Good morning, Keely.
Good morning, Josh and Susan. Yep, I'm at Glacier Edge right now, and socks are statistically the least likely item to be donated to charity, but you would not be able to tell that here inside this classroom. Students have spent the last month donating thousands of socks so far for their Socktober event. In less than 2 hours, they'll take more than 2,000 pairs and have them delivered to the Badger Prairie Needs Network. Teachers say their students were inspired by the National Socktober movement, which also collects and donates socks, and they started their own version of it 4 years ago, first collecting a few hundred, and this year 2,000. They have a goal of 2,800, but aside from reaching that number, the teacher behind this says this is also just a very teachable moment for her students.
They get very excited. They love to see the data wall grow. They love to do the daily count. What have we pulled in today, and which day was our biggest collection day? Happens to usually be Mondays because people shop over the weekend. And they've done some really great writing and talking about how it's affected them and helped them to grow and know how they can help others.
And schools in New Glarus and 4 other elementary schools here in Verona, including a local daycare, also are participating. They've raised 1,300 socks separately. So many socks in this classroom, they're even hanging from the ceiling. They're still, though, 800 pairs short of their goal of 2,800, but you can help these kids reach their Socktober goal of 2,800 by helping them donate to the Badger Prairie Needs Network. We have all that information up on our website. Josh and Susan.
All right, Keely Arthur live for us this morning. Keely, thank you.
Way to go, kids. That's a great campaign.
That's awesome.
They're going to need to double up on socks this morning. It is so cold outside. When we come back, we'll have our morning sprint, including an update on the ongoing teacher strike in Chicago.
And we'll tell you how a group came together and helped forgive the medical debt of nearly 6,000 people. It's a great people helping people story, and it's next on News 3 Now this morning.
Well, we've been asking you to share your morning with us, and how about this picture from Cassie in Argyle? This just makes you want to exhale this morning, doesn't it?
Oh, that is the picture you want to see.
No more pretty sunsets that we've had earlier this week. It's going to be blustery and very cold today. The kids are going to need everything you've got at the bus stop. But Cassie, thank you for sending that picture. It made our morning.
Remember, you can always share your morning pics by sending it to us on our Facebook page.
Trending now, checking the mail can be stressful for families who are struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah, for a lot of people, there never seems to be any shortage of bills or debt collection attempts, but one group in Chicago is looking to change that. Soon, bright yellow envelopes will appear in thousands of mailboxes across Cook County in Illinois, and this time, it won't be another bill. Instead, the letters will have the words RIP medical debt on each one. A network of area churches banded together to help restore bad credit from medical debt and to inspire joy. The Chicago Tribune reports that organizers of the project say they've wiped out more than $5.3 million in medical debt and will send letters to residents with a no strings attached message. And it'll say, "May you have a beautiful, wonderful holiday. Your debt has been forgiven. Enjoy Thanksgiving."
There are good people in the world, aren't there?
I love good people. All right, coming up after the break, Hattie's got the latest updates on your windy alert day forecast. It is not A pleasant morning out there, folks. You're going to want all of the layers and extra hairspray today.
No, that's for sure. It is October 22nd. We want to say happy birthday to Ace and all the kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with News 3 Now this morning. We'll be right back.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. It is a very windy start to the day. You're probably hearing those winds outside your house. Wind advisory is in effect for the entire area until 7 o'clock. We're talking wind gusts in the 40 to 45 mile an hour range. And we're not alone with these strong winds. All of southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, much of Minnesota and Iowa under at least a wind advisory, if not a wind warning further to the west. So you can see those strong winds impacting a huge area. Now, for you, if it is garbage day like it is in my neighborhood, you might want to look at the neighbor's yard for your garbage can. Again, those strong west winds will be blowing everything towards the east. So look in that direction if you're missing your garbage can later on today. Futuretrack wind speed through the day, again, pretty strong, around 20 miles an hour this morning. Not letting up as we head towards the lunch hour. It is going to be a west wind by then, and those winds will be gusty right through the afternoon, not diminishing until later on this evening. The winds, though, should lighten up overnight tonight. Here's a look at our current conditions. We still have some light rain and drizzle at the airport. It's 45 degrees, those southwesterly winds at 15 miles an hour. Not able to see a whole lot on our sky camera shot just yet. Sunrise about 7:20 this morning. Here's a look at your weather track, which is satellite and radar combined, showing you the cloud cover that we have across the area. Now, there are a few breaks or holes in the clouds this morning. They'll continue to rotate through the area, but again, expect on and off light showers or drizzle with mostly cloudy skies today. Temperatures early this morning, 46 in Watertown. Janesville is the warm spot at 48. We're at 45 here in Madison. Prairie du Chine's at 44. Those winds, though, are strong right now, anywhere from 15 to 25 miles an hour. So that really is going to hold the temperatures nearly steady through the day. Your Futuretrack forecast model says some passing showers through the day. Temperatures really not moving much this afternoon. We'll stay in the mid to upper 40s, even despite the temperatures being a little bit warmer yesterday. Today is going to be quite a bit cooler. Now, as that storm system pulls away tonight, we are looking at clearing skies and colder conditions for tomorrow morning. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Temperatures will be back in the 50s briefly tomorrow. There is a chance for a shower during the afternoon. Dry for the end of the week, but colder. Those nighttime lows dip into the 20s. Daytime highs only in the 40s. Ooh, look at this. Kitten in Madison.
Aw, we haven't had a cat in a while.
Of those, like, most interesting man of the universe or whatever. It's
yeah.
Like, I don't know, he's posed for pictures.
Yeah, right. That's
nail
funny.
it.
Well, you know it's windy when you have to do the garbage can tracker graphic.
Oh, my.
I'm serious. It's garbage day in my neighborhood.
Oh, that's
Bummer.
bad timing. All right, thanks a lot, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is up next.
It's 6:52, time for the morning sprint as we get your day started with everything you need to know.
We begin this morning with breaking news into the Channel 3000 Alert Center within the last few minutes here. Former President Jimmy Carter is in the hospital after fracturing his pelvis during a fall in his home. Now, this is the second time this month the 95-year-old Carter has been hurt in a fall. He suffered bruises and a cut above his eye after falling 2 weeks ago. The spokeswoman says Carter is in good spirits after his latest fall and is looking forward to recovering at home.
More oversight could be coming to the Madison Police Department. The city's finance committee voted last night to approve funding for a new position, an independent police monitor. The position was the main recommendation of a committee that has been meeting and analyzing police policy for the last 4 years. The Finance Committee also decided against adding 3 more officers to the police budget.
Some relief could be coming to low-income residents if a $40 wheel tax is approved by the full council. The Finance Committee passed an amendment to the proposal last night, giving a $40 reimbursement to people who use food stamps. Now, the city says the new vehicle registration tax is necessary to avoid further budget cuts, but opponents had expressed concerns about it, disproportionately affecting low-income residents.
Governor Tony Evers is calling state lawmakers into a special session next month to address gun violence. He's proposing 2 bills. One would require universal background checks on gun purchases, and the other would create a red flag process, giving law enforcement the ability to take away someone's gun if they're a threat to themselves or others. Republicans are calling the proposals an attack on Second Amendment rights.
A decision on the latest lawsuit over the legislature's lame duck laws could come at any moment from the state Supreme Court. Justices heard from arguments in the suit yesterday. The unions filing the suit say the laws violate the separation of powers between the executive and legislative branches. The Republican-controlled legislature's attorney says lawmakers want a seat at the table and that the Attorney General is not in the executive branch.
The Madison West High School security guard, recently fired for using a racial slur, will get his job back. Marlon Anderson says he used the N-word as a student, asking a student to stop calling him that. The district fired him due to its zero-tolerance policy on the word. Yesterday, the district decided to take back that firing and says it will work to address their policies.
And our forecast today does include a wind advisory. It's an alert day for southern Wisconsin. This advisory in effect for all counties until 7 p.m. Winds gusting in the 40 to 45 miles an hour range at times. Now, here's a look at our current wind speeds. 20 to 25 miles an hour. Wind gusts again south of Madison, 36 miles an hour in Monroe. 28 miles an hour right now here in Madison. So it's definitely going to be a windy day today. Temperatures are going to hold nearly steady through the afternoon. We're not going too far. Those west winds continue right into the afternoon.
Hattie, thank you. Iraq's military says U.S. troops leaving Syria and heading to Iraq do not have permission to stay in the country. President Trump ordered the troops to leave northern Syria, and shortly later, the fighting between Syria and Turkey started. A ceasefire in northern Syria is set to expire later today. The Pentagon says a small number of soldiers will stay in Syria in order to protect the area's oil fields.
Justin Trudeau will serve a second term as Canada's Prime Minister after winning re-election overnight. CBC News reports Trudeau's Liberal Party will return to power, but as a minority government. Just last week, former President Barack Obama endorsed Trudeau just a month after Trudeau apologized for wearing blackface during a school event nearly 20 years ago.
American diplomat Bill Taylor, who came out of retirement to run the U.S. Embassy is in Ukraine, is set to testify on Capitol Hill today as the ongoing impeachment inquiry into President Trump continues. Of the alleged quid pro quo, Taylor texted it was, quote, crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign.
Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett is campaigning for his city to be picked to host the G7 summit. It comes after President Trump backed off of his idea to host the summit at one of his resorts. Barrett submitted a letter to the president Sunday night. The G7 summit will happen on June 12th, and that is only a month before the Democratic National Convention is in Milwaukee.
We are reaching the end of October, or should I say Socktober, for the last month. Kiddos here at Glacier Edge Elementary in Verona have been collecting pairs of socks to donate to those who need them. In less than 2 hours, they're going to round up 2,000 pairs that will go to the Badger Prairie Needs Network. Teachers say their students were inspired by the national Socktober movement. So far, 5 elementary schools at Verona have participated, including other districts. And they have a goal of 2,800. They're 800 shy of that. If you want to help them reach their goal, you can donate a pair to the Badger Prairie Needs Network. We have all that information up on our website. Josh?
Keely Arthur live for us this morning. Keely, thank you. The teachers' strike continues today in Chicago as public schools announced classes will be canceled for a 4th day. Mayor Lori Lightfoot has asked striking Chicago teachers to return to work since it is unclear that an agreement can be reached. Teachers are demanding a salary increase, smaller class sizes, and more librarians, nurses, and other support staff. All right, it is 6:56 now. Jason Stone has a final look at your first alert traffic. Hi, Jason.
Hello. The westbound Beltline is slowing down at Stoughton Road through Monona Drive. All other lanes are at the posted speed limit. Drivers are dealing with a log jam on the Verona interchange. And John Nolan has routine lining up at the intersections with no trouble getting downtown. Expect a minor delay on Olin Avenue getting onto John Nolan. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Jason, thank you.
And here's a live look from the Edgewater Skycam. We have cloudy skies this morning. Keep in mind there may be some drizzle or some light showers at times today. Very windy though through the day. That's the one consistent. Temperatures will stay in the mid to upper 40s. So bundle up before you head out the door.
All right, Hattie, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. Go make it a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
It's